All right, folks, from the shores of the North Saskatchewan River, right here in sunny, scenic Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, all the way over to my next guest, who's just a ways down the road in Saskatoon. I won't hold that against her, though. Of course, this is Allyson Reigh. I've got on the line with me of Rosie and the Riveters. How are you doing, Allyson?
I'm doing really well, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I'd just throw in a little jab there because, of course, our Raiders just recently eliminated the Blades. Maybe I think the ink is still not even wet on how all that whole series went down.
Well, they did, but you know what? I'm actually from PA, so
Oh,
I feel like my loyalties probably lie with the Raiders.
well, there you go. Well, now there's something I actually didn't know because, of course, you guys are coming up for Chesterfest July 5th to 7th right here in PA. I guess I'm assuming then that maybe that's where the connection is with the folks that are organizing the festival?
Well, I haven't lived in Prince Albert for a number of years, but I do know Joel Rose, who's putting on the festival. So I met him when after many years of living in Saskatoon. So
Right.
I hope that it's because we're a good band, but also, it helps that we're local too. So that's nice. Yeah, we're really excited about it.
Now, I think if my memory serves me correctly too, you guys did a show at the Rawlinson maybe back in the fall. Am I right?
Yeah, we did in November. We had a show that was at the Rawlinson, and it was Joel Rose also had a hand in that as well from Triphonic Sound. So he was instrumental in bringing us to PA, and we had a great time, and we're looking forward to be performing at Chesterfest in July.
Yeah, and I think that's at what's it called? Par? Is it called Par Place?
Our place.
Yeah, I'm super new to PA myself. Actually, I moved here from Yellowknife.
Okay, yeah, it's at Par Place. It's just out of town, and I sang at a couple weddings there when I was in high school. So I haven't been out there since, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, now it looks like, having talked with Joel a teeny tiny bit about this, of course, the concept of this is that there's going to be several vintage couches on scene. I mean, it boasts 100. I'm waiting to see. I don't know if I'll be legalistic in count, but that should be interesting, right? I mean, I think Rosie and the Riveters has a sound maybe that might be designed to maybe kick back on a couch and just take it all in.
I hope so. I mean, we put on a pretty dynamic live show, but I think it's certainly a show that people can sit back and relax to and just kind of watch us have some fun, and hopefully they have some fun too. And if they feel like getting up and dancing, they can do that as well. But those couches are going to be pretty comfortable. So I think it's a really great idea for a festival, and we're really, really looking forward to performing.
Yeah. Now I wonder how vintage these couches are going to be. I've always wanted to kind of have a sectional couch, and I've never really quite got around to owning them because you have to almost take out a small loan to have one of those things. But I always appreciated the kind of all-encompassing dynamic in a room that a sectional couch could have.
Well, I just bought a place with my partner last year, and we've got two sectionals. We found some great deals. So, if you look, you can find some good deals, but they're pretty comfortable. I don't know if Joel's planning on having any sectionals at the festival, but here's hoping.
Yeah, well, I mean, is that your go-to couch of choice as well? Obviously, I guess the answer would be yes, considering the fact that you have two.
Yeah, I love it, actually. I love both of them. And you know what? We bought two of the same couch.
Oh.
That's probably not what's advised, but it's we love it. And we just have a little dog, so it's kind of her little perch during the day. She sits on the couch, I work from home, so that's her little space.
There you go. Well, then of course now you're sharing the stage with some pretty impressive acts. But one act that you may or may not be familiar with that I've really always enjoyed the music of is the Garrys. I believe they're from your neck of the woods.
Yeah, they are. We don't. What's really unfortunate about our situation is that we're on tour so often that when we get home, we don't go out very often. But I've seen the Garrys perform a couple times, and they're really good. So yeah. I love smaller festivals because it's also a good chance to catch up with people you haven't seen in a while, people you know from way back when that are making their own way. We're looking forward to catching some of our friends perform as well. That's always the best part for us.
For sure. Is the Dead South from Saskatchewan too?
Yeah, they're from Regina.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, now see, Regina, Saskatoon as well. We're sort of in this, Bermuda Triangle of towns that potentially don't necessarily get along, but the bond and the brotherhood and sisterhood of music will have to suffice.
Yeah. Well, I think we all get along. I think people like to just pit us against each other. You know how it is.
For sure. Well, now the other group, though, I mean, I suppose, the two headliners, of course, the Dead South we already mentioned, sort of with their bluegrass polish, but there's also Canadian classic rockers Harlequin. I mean, have you guys encountered Harlequin in your travels at all in the business, Allyson?
We haven't, but this is the first time for everything. So it's a great opportunity to hear some of their music. I mean, of course, we know who Harlequin is. We're obviously big fans. But it'll be a really awesome experience to catch them live as well, because I've never seen them live. But
for sure. Well, now you mentioned
the beauty of festivals, bringing everyone together.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that Rosie and the Riveters has a dynamic live energy that you bring across. I mean, could you elaborate on that a little bit? I mean, what does a Rosie and the Riveters show look like?
Well, that's a great question. When we started off as a band, we were 4 women and a guitar, and then we slowly evolved from that. So we used to do a lot of really vintage inspired music, and now we don't. We're more contemporary, and we include a lot of really awesome live elements. So we tour with a full band. There's 3 of us now, plus the full band. We've got a lot of really dynamic moments on stage. We've worked with some of the best of the best in the business. So we've really developed our live show to be fun and engaging. We've got lots of little set changes here and there, lots of poignant moments in the show. We have glitter, we've got tom drums, we've got various percussive elements, and above all, I think the most engaging part of our show is that it's really fun, and it's really empowering, and there's lots of what's the word I'm looking for? Just magic happening between the 3 of us and our band on stage. And I think that that's really something that is really unique about our show, and that we're showing young women and young girls that it's possible to do this kind of thing, because there's a lot of dudes in plaid playing in music, and particularly in Canada at the moment. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think that it's really awesome to be able to offer an alternative, to see women working together and to see women on a big stage and just having a great time.
Now, I think if my information is correct, this group, Rosie and the Riveters, this was kind of Faraday's brainchild to start.
Yeah, it was.
And what some of the things that you've been...
Caesar, is from Saskatoon, and she was born in Prince Albert, fun fact.
Oh.
But she moved to Saskatoon as a young kid. Uh-huh. And it was her idea to create a band solely comprised of women, because she was performing. She'd been performing for a few years and was just finding that there were really limited opportunities for women who were serious about their craft to get together. And it can be intimidating. A lot of guys get together over a case of beer and just jam it out, but women are not always included or invited to those kinds of things. Yeah. So she kind of put a call out on social media to create a space and to create a band that was, just as serious, but less booze, and just wanted to have fun and collaborate together, and that's how Rosie and the Riveters got started. So Alexis was the next person to join, and eventually there were 5 members. And then, things happened and changed, and then I joined the band, and then we became 3. Yeah. And it was all thanks to Faraday.
Well, one thing now that I think too, I mean, you're talking about this sense of empowerment within the band, feminine empowerment. And I think, it all almost boils down to the name and even that kind of vintage, almost Andrew's Sisters kind of vibe that you have going. Even on the latest full length that came out about a year ago, you still have that kind of vintage sound to your band with a bit of a contemporary slant.
Yeah, well, we had that, but our live show moves away from that. So we don't actually dress in pin curls or pinup dresses anymore. It's a lot more contemporary. But we do have some throwbacks with, like, we've got some Motown grooves. We've got some Bill Withers style, laid back guitar blues kind of sound.
Sure.
But yeah, I would say that we used to draw more inspiration from the Andrews Sisters and that sort of time, but we don't really anymore. And with this new record, we have some tunes that are kind of, we've got a couple that sort of fit with that description, but a lot more that are like kind of swampy and kind of have these like gritty textures that we really want to bring out and to talk about things that are really important to us. So we've got, a lot of slightly political messages.
Yeah.
But our message is really about empowerment and inclusion and how important it is to include voices of marginalized people who don't always have the opportunity to have their voices heard. So that's really what our record is about, and that's really what our sound is about. And it's just us having a good time, but with the message of empowerment and inclusion.
Yeah, and this is the most recent full length you're talking about, entitled Misbehave.
Yeah.
So I mean, just as you were talking about that, I mean, I couldn't help but think of, how polarizing the political climate is in this day and age. I mean, how are you guys negotiating that?
Well, I think really it's just about being strong in your message and really about believing in what you're saying. And I think that there's always a place for kindness and compassion, and that's really the message that we bring is the importance of inclusion. Like I said, importance of kindness and compassion and empowerment. And those to us are really political things, and they shouldn't be.
No.
Because it should be second nature to be kind and compassionate to your fellow human beings. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why we include an inclusion statement at our merch table, just welcoming everyone, regardless of where you come from in life, your ability, your orientation, your gender identity. It's just really welcoming everyone to our show, and we want our shows to be a safe place for all people to enjoy the music.
I was just thinking now, of course, Misbehave came out, I guess, a little over a year ago. So, I mean, I know that you're still touring and getting these songs out to the public, but I mean, are you guys a forward-thinking group? Are you already looking at a potential follow-up as well?
Yeah, we are actually. So the life cycle of an album is usually 2 to 3 years. So that's the amount of time that you spend touring and promoting an album. But during that time, you're promoting it, you're also writing for the next record, so that in 2 to 3 years' time you have a new release. So that's what we're doing at the moment. We're still touring this album because it's still, quote unquote fresh. But we've already started work on our next record. And that's just kind of the interesting part of this industry is that behind the scenes, you have to be planning, 3 to 5 years in advance. So that's kind of where we're at. We just started writing, and we've got some writing retreats planned together. And we don't really know. We don't know what the record's going to be called. We don't know what it's going to look like specifically, but we've got some good ideas. And I think that, we had a lot of great success with Misbehave. We got a shout out from Billboard magazine and Rolling Stone magazine and all of those kinds of things. So it's a really great opportunity for us to use that momentum and to springboard it into our next step.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And I mean, you mentioned writing retreats. So, I mean, I suppose the three of you have to sort of sequester yourselves, quote unquote, to get positive work done. Is that how your process works?
Yeah, we use a variety of techniques. Sometimes we do what's called artist dates, and we go and we do something creative together that actually may or may not involve music.
Uh-huh.
So last time when we were writing, we went to coffee shops and did some word exercises just to kind of get our brains moving, or we went to art galleries, or, we went out for a really good meal, which, people argue is art in its own way. So we really took in all of these different creative experiences, and then we'd go away to the cabin for, 7 or 10 days and just write, and come up with lots of different ideas on our own. And then when we get together, we sort of flesh them out.
Yeah.
And, that's what's going to be happening this time, albeit on a different scale. So we're going away for 3 days at a time.
Yeah.
And then we're also working together in the city too a little bit more. So yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. We do a bit of work on our own, and then we get together and work on it. And what's really awesome is that we all have different strengths that we can draw from.
For sure.
One thing that's really great about our group is Alexis Norman. She's the primary guitar player, and she has a really keen sense of rhythm and composition and song structure. And so that's one of the strengths that she brings. And Faraday is a really great lyricist, so that's another strength that she brings. So it's really fun to see how these different strengths sort of meld together to create something that's uniquely Rosie the Riveters.
That sounds awesome. Of course, just here before I let you go here, we mentioned that Chesterfest is July 5th to 7th right here in Prince Albert. But then, of course, you've got a few dates coming up in Saskatoon, May 11th and 12th at the Basement. And
that's right.
Yeah, and then you've got the Sask Jazz Fest where you're opening for Johnny Reid, June 29th. So
on Saturday, June 29th, we're opening for Johnny Reid on the main stage, which we're we could not be more thrilled about it. It doesn't seem real, actually.
Yeah.
But I'm sure closer to the time it'll be just overwhelming. We're really stoked about that. And also, any chance we get to play in our hometown is always really fun. So we're doing those 2 nights at the Basement, the 11th and 12th. And the opener is Melanie Brulé from Ontario.
Right.
She's a really fantastic singer-songwriter from out east, and we're really excited to share the stage with her.
Sounds awesome.
And then after that, we're going to the Vancouver Island Folk Fest in July. We're also playing Moose Jaw Pride this year. We've got a couple here and there, and then we head straight into some more touring in the fall and some more songwriting.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you guys are keeping yourself busy, so I won't keep you too long. Just to close out, of course, Allyson, it's truly been a pleasure and an honor chatting with you today about your music and all things Rosie and the Riveters. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. And we're looking forward to seeing you at Chesterfest.
Right on. All right. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.